Welcome to the Catbird Quilts. I'm Kathy Martin, and I have a lot to say about where to get the best men's dress shirts for quilting. So we've talked about why I love quilting with men's dress shirts from the thrift store, and then we answered the question, what kind of shirts work best for quilting? And that leads us to the question, where do you go to get those shirts? And the short answer is you go to thrift stores near where those shirts are worn. If you're looking for a dress shirt that is white or blue or just a really kind of plain and simple, maybe a faint stripe, you're going to go to the thrift store nearest the place where people who wear those shirts live. Because people donate their clothes at the thrift store nearest their house, by and large. So if you think about who wears nice men's dress shirts, it's businessmen, often doctors and attorneys, bankers. And here in the Deep South, those particular roles in society are very restrictive in their societal expectation of clothing. So that's white, that's blue, and that's white with a stripe or blue with a stripe. And that's kind of it. And so if I wanted the biggest selection in the world of blue and white with stripes and blue with stripes, I would go to the thrift store in my area that is nearest the part of town where those folks live. And we have one of those actually. And I love to shop there because the quality of those shirts is fantastic. And so part of deciding where to go is knowing the demographic of where you live. Where I happen to live, the thrift store nearest me is a interesting mix of people. There's some diversity culturally, there's some diversity racially, and there's some diversity from jobs and careers and roles in life. So I have a pretty wide selection at the thrift store nearest my house. So I might find a really, really nice white men's dress shirt. I might find a bright purple polyester shirt. I might find a pink gingham shirt. I might find a red striped shirt with the Alabama football team logo on it. So, and for that reason, I'm very fortunate that my particular thrift store, the one nearest me, has a really wide selection. What I have found though is if I explore other thrift stores, sometimes I get exposure to a demographic of people that isn't represented in those two thrift stores that I just represented. So about 20 minutes from here is my hometown, and I actually favor that thrift store the most now. There are just a slew of big and tall folks out there apparently, so I can find really large shirts there. There are a couple of guys that live in my hometown that have fantastic taste in clothes, and there's this one guy who wears denim and flower shirts from Ricky Singh. He's not a very big guy, but I've probably found 6 shirts in that brand name and I love them. I don't get a lot of fabric out of them, but the fabric that I do get, I really love. When you're considering where to go, you just, if you can in your mind's eye, imagine who is going to wear the shirt that you're looking for. And then you go to the thrift store nearest where that person probably lives. When my husband and I lived in Nebraska, we were in a small town that was halfway between Omaha and Lincoln, roughly, and they didn't even have a thrift store in our town. And so I would drive into the nearest suburb and go to the Goodwill there. And what the selection that was there was exactly what you would imagine that people who live in the suburbs and drive into Omaha to work would wear. About once every 3 months, I would drive all the way into the city and go to the thrift store downtown where a lot of professionals donated their clothes. And also there was some urban influence there. And so that was kind of an interesting mix of shirts there. So I would encourage you, when you're thinking through what sorts of shirts that you're looking for example, that you wanted to use cotton silk blend Tommy Bahama shirts, which one of our commenters actually, or viewers, commented about. If you wanted to do that, go to where retirees who travel live, and you're going to find a lot of them. But I encourage you, take a day trip, drive 30 minutes outside your area. If you're in a rural area, drive into the city and make a half day of it and see what they have. Or if you live in the city, drive out to the country. And if you know that there are, like, let's say you're looking for kind of a sturdy cotton work shirt, then you're going to go to where people who wear sturdy cotton work shirts live, and you'll be surprised. There are some limitations, obviously. My friend, my quilty mentor, soulmate friend who understands me so well, she is always lamenting and envious of the pastels and ginghams and linens that the men in the South wear. So in her Midwestern town, not a lot of pink gingham shirts. And that's just a regional thing. You're just, probably not going to find aqua, lavender, pale green, and pink gingham in one day in a thrift store in suburban Missouri. But you might, you never know. So I just really want to encourage you, don't get discouraged. And the thing to keep in mind too, with whether it's thrift stores, charity stores, op shops, the thrift store is feast or famine. You may go one day and there's nothing but polyester stained medium men's shirts, and it feels like a complete waste of time. A week later, you might go and find a double XL big and tall in a cotton print that you just would die for. So that's just kind of a thought there. Keep your mind open, make multiple trips. You never know what you're going to find. This is the Catbird Quilts. I'm Kathy Martin. Thanks for watching.